Why they betrayed you. You didn't see it coming. You were loyal. You were present. You gave them parts of yourself you had never given anyone else. And then, they destroyed it. Not a stranger. Not someone you barely knew. The one person you trusted completely. And now you're left with a question that won't leave you alone. Why? Today, psychology gives you the answer, and some of it will be uncomfortable to hear. Here is the first thing you need to understand. The people closest to you are the only ones capable of truly betraying you. Psychologists call this the proximity paradox. A stranger cannot expose your secrets because you never trusted them with any. A stranger cannot shatter your world because they were never allowed inside it. Only someone you loved had that kind of power over you. And power, in the wrong hands, will almost always be used. That is not your fault. That is human nature. But here is where it gets harder to accept. Most betrayals were not planned. Research shows it happens through a slow, quiet process called moral disengagement, when a person begins to separate their actions from their own conscience. It starts small, a lie that felt harmless, a secret that seemed unimportant, a line they told themselves didn't really count. And then another, and another. Each small step made the next one easier until one day they had crossed a line they once believed they never would. They didn't fall out of love overnight. They drifted quietly, slowly, one compromise at a time. Betrayal is rarely born from hatred. It is born from weakness, from selfishness, from the slow erosion of who they once were. Or maybe, who they pretended to be. Psychology identifies 3 kinds of people who betray, and if you listen carefully, you may recognize someone you know. The opportunist. This person had no plan, but when an opportunity appeared, another relationship, money, something they wanted, they took it. They are not calculating. They are simply weak. They chose comfort over your trust every single time. Watch for this. In every story they tell, they are always the victim or the hero. Never responsible. Never to blame. The resentful. This person did not betray you in anger. They betrayed you in silence. For months, sometimes years, they collected grievances. Pain they never expressed. Arguments they never finished. And instead of speaking, they stored it. Until one day, the weight became too much, and the betrayal became their verdict, delivered without ever giving you a trial. Watch for this. They go quiet. They pull away. They say, "I'm fine," when they are anything but. And then, without warning, they act. The entitled. This is perhaps the most painful one to recognize. This person genuinely believed they deserved more love, more attention, more than you or anyone could give them. So in their mind, they weren't betraying you. They were simply taking what felt owed to them. They were never hiding cruelty. They were hiding a hunger that was never going to be satisfied. Watch for this. Nothing is ever enough. They compare constantly. They say, "I deserve better," not occasionally, regularly. And now, the hardest truth. You could not have prevented this. You could have been more loving, more present, more patient, and it still would have happened. Because the betrayal was never about what you lacked. It was about what they lacked. Their weakness, their selfishness, their inability to be the person they promised you they were. Betrayal does not measure your worth. It reveals theirs. So what do you do now? You stop trying to make sense of something that was never logical. You trust the pattern you saw, even if you doubted it then. You understand that healing is not about forgetting, It is about remembering who you are, without them in the story. The person who betrayed you showed you exactly who they are. Now, it's time to decide who you're going to be. If this reached something inside you, the next video goes even deeper. The psychology of why narcissists always come back, and what they actually want when they do. It is not what you think. Subscribe, and I'll see you there.